A new coach with his eyes on turning this team around. Also, a coach who has had to make big adjustments to continuing their winning ways. It's a brand new episode of The Scoreboard, and it starts right now. Hey everyone, right now we have a very special guest. In just a couple of months, basketball season is going to be back up and running, and there is a new coach at the helm of the Park City girls basketball team. We're here with Coach Vito today. Coach, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for the time. I'm excited to be here, be a part of this new journey here at Park City. And you know what, with the weather being so hot in Salt Lake, it's kind of a good idea to get out of there a little bit, be here in a nice little area in Park City. A little bit cooler than Salt Lake today.
Oh, it's beautiful here actually today, and it's going to be getting a little bit cooler.
Yes.
Sports are going to be moving indoors. Basketball season's just around the corner. You are the new head coach. I'm just curious, how did that all come to be? What was the interview process like?
Yeah, you know what, I've been coaching for about over 10 years now, and I started out as an assistant coach at Copper Hills years and years ago. Now getting an opportunity to be here in Park City, being at a new, bigger school at a 5A level. The interview process was awesome. The AD, Jamie Sheets, really good dude, great interview at that time. And the thing I would say about the interview process, hard-hitting questions. You know, and I loved how asked about the experience I had where I'm coming from a school called Wasatch Academy. Now, it's a school, if you know anything about it, the boys program is one of the national ranked teams in the state, and they go out and play like where Carmelo Anthony played at Oak Hills. So it was a cool opportunity to be there. I was the girls coach over there where I had a great success building a program from the ground up there. And it was a lot of fun there. So coming out here to Park City, I know it's a new challenge, but I'm excited for it. But just a little bit about the interview process, like you just said, it was great, and I'm really excited that they gave me an opportunity to be the next head coach at Park City.
That's unbelievable. Okay, so you were at Wasatch Academy. Why are you coming to this school? I mean, this school has won 6 games over the last 3 years. I mean, they've struggled to win. And so I'm curious, you mentioned building up a team and things like that. What is it going to be like for you trying to build up this new team that has a lot of talent but hasn't gotten the wins that they would have liked to over the last few years?
Yeah, you bring up the talent there, which is amazing. I've seen these girls play over the summer, and I've seen them compete at the highest level that they can and be successful, winning a couple games this summer that they've told me about. And yeah, coming from Wasatch Academy, it was a tough decision to leave that program because I built really great relationships with those girls. We were on the right track to building something special in the future. I know we were, but I think it was so hard to pass up an opportunity to come here to Park City because, yeah, like you said, Wasatch Academy, great story and all that kind of area out there. But being back locally near the Salt Lake Valley where I'm from, it gives me an opportunity to come out here and build something special at Park City. Now, the talent that is coming back next year, I'm so excited to work with. And the challenge is one thing I'm really excited to. Olympus, one of the best teams in the state. I want to have an opportunity to compete with some of the best teams in the state, like Olympus, taking on Brighton, East, and a couple other teams in the region that are coming up. The challenge is going to be exciting for me. And yeah, the opportunity, it came at the right time because it was time for me to take on the next challenge because I've been at schools at American Academy in Springville where I took them to the first ever state appearance in my first year as a head coach. I tell this story, it's amazing because the school didn't have success before I got there, about 2 wins in about 5 years, ended up winning about 7 to 8 games that season. The AD and the school didn't think we were going to state. We didn't have a bus to go to state. So we ended up driving down there to state anyways, and we ended up losing to North Summit, who has a player at Utah now. So we competed with them and had a great story to tell there. After Merritt Academy, going to Utah Military Academy up in Ogden, I did the same thing. I turned the program around from 3 or 4 wins in 3 years they had to winning 6 games and 8 games the next couple years and going to state appearances for that school. And now when going back to Wasatch last year, it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. I wanted to go out there and learn. I learned from the boys program how they run it, how they were successful to be on a down year, they called it, in their season. But they still ended up having a great season, the boys did. And I learned so much watching that program, how to build a program at a smaller level, at a 2A class. So I think all my experiences from the challenges from the other schools I've been at and the success I've had at those schools, it gives me a real opportunity that I think I can build on the talent that's here at Park City, and I think we can have a really exciting year.
What are some of the keys to improvement? What are some of the ways that you think that this Park City team can grow and build on the talents that they already have?
I think just continue working on their skills that they've learned in the past and adding to their resume, to say. I think if I've got some players that are good ball handlers, well, let's make them into good shooters now. How can I make a great team become even a better team in that sense? And it comes with working together as a team, learning how to be teammates on and off the floor, and working together as one. I always tell players I coach, there's only one basketball on the floor, right? So everyone's got to know how to share and move without the basketball. And in the past, they've done such a good job with the skills they've had, and I'm just excited to add, basically add some spice to it, add my ingredients to what's already been there. And then the younger kids that are coming up that actually get to be a part of my program that I think I get to build on, they're going to see these seniors learn in a little bit of time that they get to have with me, that they're going to build on the success over the years in the future. And I tell the seniors that are going to be here this year is that, whether we win X amount of games this year, but the following year, if we win more, you're a part of the process in that, because you were the first pieces of the puzzle I put together here at Park City. And I want to make sure that you guys are great leaders, that you know what you can give the younger kids who might win a couple more games in the future, or X amount of games in the future, that you are a part of what happened at Park City when Coach Vito became the next head coach.
What is your coaching style? What do you like to do when you're on the bench? Are you a loud coach? Are you an excited coach? Are you more laid back? Are you like a Phil Jackson type who sits back in the chair and lets the team play? What do you like to do when you're on the sideline?
Oh, I don't want to give too much away, because as you guys see when the year begins, I'm very passionate. That's the way I describe myself. I am going to be very loud, and I know the gyms we are going to go into are very loud too, and I'm excited to have my voice get taken over from the crowd and the players focus in on me and not worry about the background noise. So I'm going to be up. I'm very animated. I will get on the officials when I need to be, but I will be very respectful. And there's some great officials I've met here in the state of Utah that love having me as the coach when they're reffing the games. Animated is the way I describe myself. I'm going to get up, be loud, show the players that I care about them on the floor. And the way that I've done it in the past is like I'm yelling constantly at the plays that we're running there. I'm yelling at the matchups I see on the offensive end. So if a team's running a certain kind of zone or something, I'm pointing out the spots that I see that I feel like, hey, that could be a weak spot of their zone. Let's attack it. So very passionate is the way to describe it. You're going to see me very, very loud at the games, and you're going to see a type of coach who not only cares about the players, about being winning on the scoreboard, but winning when there's other moments to win in the game. Whether it's a great possession, I'm going to be very loud. I'm going to cheer for you. If a player makes a mistake, I'm going to make sure that I teach them on the fly that, hey, it's okay you made the mistake. Let's move on and go to the next play. We can learn from that and grow from it. So the way that I'm coach is all over the place, and I won't be sitting in as much. I think that's the best way to describe it. Phil Jackson, obviously, he took time to build his resume to be able to sit like that, and obviously he had the greats like Kobe and Jordan, that had his opportunity. I always wish maybe he would have took an opportunity to take Coach LeBron, but that's another story for another day. But there's a lot of things I take from other coaches I've seen in the past. But yeah, I'm going to be up. I'm usually sweating as much as the players are, because at the end of the day, I love this game of basketball, and I want to make sure that I show the players that I'm putting in as much work as they are on the floor.
There's nothing that I love more out of a coach than someone who actually loves the game, truly knows it, and clearly you do. I'm just curious, how did you get into basketball? What has brought this passion into your life?
Yeah, just growing up watching it. I'm from Utah, so obviously Stockton and Malone were big factors that I grew up watching. Pick and roll was my favorite thing running, so when I was playing and when I was a youngster, I would always tell my big guys, hey, set that screen and roll for me. I'm going to get you the basketball. I'm not worried about scoring. I want to make sure it's a team game and all that, and in that sense. The other thing is I love the how people work together without the basketball. So I would grow up watch like Rip Hamilton setting ball screens, off the ball screens, and moving without the basketball really well. I always enjoyed watching that, how there's different ways to score without having the ball in your hand. And just when I was younger playing it, you just fall in love with it. You know, there's a lot of things you fall in love with in life, and basketball is one of them I fell in love with. And just putting a ball in my hand and going up and shooting a ball and making the hoop, whether it goes in or out, it just gives you so much joy. And I love that feeling about it. And as when you're younger and you learn how to lose and learn from losses, I wish you can go back and tell yourself, like, hey, I wish I can teach myself it's okay to lose games certain ways. You don't have to be so upset after a loss. As I've grown as a coach and my passion for the game has grown even more, my experience that I can give to other players that play this game is like, hey, let's have fun, you know, and just having fun is one of the best parts about it. I coach AAU basketball as well, and one of my favorite things is teaching like the younger kids, like 3rd or 4th grade, and I get to like really step in and show them how to play the game and teach them the game. And I think my love for the game just continues every year. I get to have an opportunity to coach and, you know, practice with players and teach them any way I can. So teaching has been a big part of the passion as well as I've got older. But yeah, just picking up a basketball at a very young age after Stockton Malone, Stockton hitting that game winner against the Rockets, you know, sending the Jazz to the finals, you know, I was like, man, that's awesome. And I think having the Utah Jazz being a winning team in the 90s and seeing them go to the finals, being a young kid from that time, was like, I want to do something just like them.
You talk a lot about the pick and roll. You talk about growing up in the 90s. The game was much different back then. How much do you utilize today's game versus 90s style basketball, which is a little bit different?
Yeah, and I call it the Steph Curry effect. You know, a lot of kids grow up watching Steph Curry shoot the ball up and hit threes from 50, 60 feet out there. And I tell younger kids, I was like, hey, that's great, but that guy worked so hard to be able to shoot like that. And until we can get to a spot that you can shoot like that, we can't play that style yet. Going from the two different eras, the 90s, very physical, not as many fouls being called, you know, very aggressive type of style of basketball, and is more physical at that sense. I bring that intensity to some of the kids I coach now, but I was like, we're not playing dirty basketball like some of the 80s did, or, you know, the Detroit Piston Bad Boys team. We can't play like that anymore. The game, athletes are so much smarter nowadays too. They know how much they can take on their body, how much they can work and run playing a game now. They're very smart, and a lot of coaches that are old school minded coaches, I feel like, are trying to like run a lot of players still into the ground in that mentality you're talking about from the 90s, because that's how it was. You would play every game, you're running all the time, you're going through all that kind of stuff. So the way that I mix and match it, I was like, hey, keep the intensity up, kind of like how it was back then, but we got to switch up our style. We got to know how to shoot the 3-point ball now. Everybody does. Everybody's got to know how to handle the basketball really well, because if you don't know how to handle the ball, you're not going to be able to play as much minutes as I would like you to as a coach. If you can shoot the 3-pointer, that gives you an even more balanced time to stay for me on the floor to get some more shots up there and get us an extra point. But at the same time, we're still running pick and rolls. We're still setting ball screens. We're still learning how to do all that kind of stuff. So you got to find a way to look at the 90s and the 2000 era and look at it now and say, okay, how can we mesh it to the middle, and how can we make it the best of both worlds? Because I think a lot of coaches you see in the NBA try to do that with like Steve Nash with the Nets right now. You know, he's trying to find a way to get Kyrie and Durant to play his kind of style of basketball when, you know, they're totally different players from their eras. So a lot of kids that I come up and coach, I was like, hey, I remember the guys you like. I was like, I'm lucky that people still know who Michael Jordan is now, right? Everyone knows LeBron James and Steph Curry. Those are the 3 biggest names still. And obviously Kobe Bryant, after what happened with him, unfortunately, with the plane crash, everyone still knows his name about what happened in his career. So there's a lot of good you can take from a lot of great players, because again, if before Steph Curry there was a Kobe, before Kobe there's a LeBron, before LeBron there's a Jordan. You got to find a way to take what they did in the past and build on your own potential in the future.
And I think one of the most underrated parts of Steph Curry himself is no one watches what he's doing off ball, constantly moving, setting off ball screens, things like that, looking for ways to get open, and that's something that Park City can definitely do this season. What needs to change for this team to be successful this next year?
I think the change of the program is just changing with me, and it says a new coach is coming in, so let's have a new new kind of philosophy that I'm going to bring in. Now, the last coach, I got to know him really well. He's done a wonderful job in skill work and some of the plays they've ran and being successful in their time. So a lot of things that he's done, I'm going to piggyback off it, but I'm going to kind of, it's almost like you put in pencil, right? And you might say like, well, you added it wrong, you can erase it, right? And add the right thing. So I might be looking at the pencils written he's done on a paper, and I might say, I like that, let's try it this way, and erase it and put my spill in it and see if it works really well, because I think that's what's going to be the most important thing coming into this next year of me creating an identity for myself. And I tell everyone, it doesn't change overnight. I've been so luckily blessed with the teams I've had that for some reason I change one team around and flip it to a winning program in their sense, because they haven't won in a while. And I'm just excited to hopefully have a challenge and to bring my philosophy and my teachings to this young group who's ready, I think, to take the next step in the journey here at Park City. And I'm not going to be, I won't be surprised if we end up winning the way I want to, but I got to give credit to the past before I get a full year in.
Well, we actually just talked to the leading scorer of the team last year, Ava Kimchi. She averaged 15.2 points per game last year. She actually did decide she is going to be returning to this team this next year, which is very exciting for the entire program, for the entire school. People are really happy that she's going to be back. When is the team going to start practicing again?
Yeah, we got some open gyms coming up this month, so hopefully this Friday we're going to be over there at Treasure Junior High, I believe. Now, I've been told there's like a middle school, junior high, high school. It's all differently, so I'm trying to get the feeling of that. In Salt Lake, it's just middle school and junior high are the same thing. So we'll be at Treasure Junior High, I believe, starting every Friday after school about noon. And we're going to get any opportunity we can to get any players from 9th grade up to their seniors that want to come out. And then we're looking at the younger talent too. So if there's 7th and 8th graders that want to come and practice with us and learn to do open gyms, we're happy to do that, because at the end of the day, I would love to build on the future as well. And then going back to Ava, I did see her play a little bit during her time and watch a little bit of film on her, and her skill is exactly, I think, would fit my style of coaching. And if it all works out come tryouts day and she does want to be a part of the team and it ends up working out and she wants to come back, because I do understand things happened last year and there's a past, and I'm hoping I can be the president that she wants to be a part of.
Well, she did mention specifically that there was a new head coach. She's looking forward to playing for you,
Awesome.
So we cannot wait for it. Coach, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a great honor to be here, and I'm excited to see you at some of the games this year and excited to get everyone else who wants to come out there to support us. We got some big games, too, that are coming up, and the preseason schedule, I put together a couple games that are going to be tough, but it's going to make us a better team, so I can't wait to get started. So thank you for your time.
Hey everyone, right now we are joined by Heather Flynn, the head coach of the Park City girls water polo team. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We are super excited for this season. The team is already doing really, really well. We just talked to Kala and Savannah about the team. What have you been seeing from this team that you're liking going into this season so far?
Yeah, so I'm excited because we even have a team. With a lot of the teams, had to file hardships so that we could include 8th graders on our team. So I really only have 4 experienced players, 2 seniors, 2 juniors. I have a brand new sophomore, a freshman, and 3 8th graders.
So that's got to bring a lot of late nights for you trying to figure out what to do with these different teams. How difficult has it been kind of adjusting to this style of play, losing someone like Ava Stein and things like that?
Well, just finding somebody to want to play goalie was a little bit of a challenge, but Sammy stepped up. She's in 8th grade. She's excited to learn, and she's eager to kind of try to fill those shoes. And she's got, 5 years essentially being in 8th grade, which is exciting. And the fact that, trying to look at this from a positive perspective, that we have such a young team speaks a lot to where we're going in the future.
Yeah, I've actually, I was talking to the girls, it's difficult to know that there is a young team, but it still shows that Park City is one of the best programs in the entire state. And so there's still a lot of upside. And in a couple of years, this team is going to be one of the best teams in the state if you can keep these players. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And they're all really excited to play. Right now, we just need to build conditioning skills, game awareness, all of that. And the older girls, our captains, Kala and Savannah and Nina, we call her Beans, and the other Nina, Zebra. They are doing great mentoring these younger girls.
How stressful has it been going from a team last year who was very experienced? You lost a lot of players, a lot of key players, and so now you kind of have to make all these adjustments. How difficult has it been for you personally?
Well, it's a different perspective. So last year, having so many experienced players, I actually think in a way I tried to do too much. Like I had a 30-page playbook and it was just like a little too much. And then you go to this year where I have brand new players that completely have simplified things, which I think is good for me as a coach to just be able to adjust to these situations. I've also been scouting teams. So that's been a great thing. Like our older girls really know the other players as well, but figuring out who our matchups are and trying to kind of exploit that on other teams.
How fast is the sport of water polo growing?
Right now, our youth program is absolutely exploding. It's so exciting. I mean, we have so many younger girls coming up the ranks. So I think that looks really, really great for the future. And I'm also building a Utah United team, which is an all-star girls team and draws from all girls in Utah. And we are going to travel outside of state and play other teams. And all that is going to do is elevate the level of play in all of Utah.
The entire state is probably full of talented players and things like that. So I'm sure you already know who you want to bring onto that team. Do you already have connections with other high schools and who you want to bring onto that team?
Yeah, we started this summer in June, and this is what Cal and Savannah were kind of talking about. We just had practices during the summer, but we're hoping to start traveling, looking at a tournament in Vegas in November and looking at a tournament in California in January. So once we can bring all these girls together and see what they can do against, out-of-state teams, I think that's exciting.
Do you think that could actually bring over some players into the Park City program itself? I know there are some things that you have to do in order to get that to happen, but I know there are some ways to do it. Is there any hope that maybe Utah United can kind of mesh in with Park City Water Polo and create almost a super team here in the state?
Well, it's an interesting question because anybody can come and play for us in the club and during the club season in the spring, and some of our Utah United girls have expressed interest in coming to play with Park City in the spring, which is exciting.
It is very exciting, and Park City still being one of the top programs. How much are you looking forward to games against Kearns and other top teams in the entire state?
Oh, it's great. Always looking for a challenge, and Kearns is always a top team. Skyline is looking really strong this year. Olympus, we had a close game with them. It's really, it's anybody's ball game at this point, and it's exciting.
Well, Coach, we cannot wait to continue to cover it. Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching. We will be right back here on Tuesday talking to North Summit's Ian Coyle, as well as some Formula One speed racing taking place here over the weekend. For the entire Scoreboard team, I am Blake O'Ruling, and we will see you all on Tuesday.